So what do you think your place in the poetic world really is right now?
At its meanest, enthusiast. Someone trying to build an energetic appreciation for that form, and as importantly, that style of communication, of reading to other people. I think it wasn't until I got into reading my own work, it wasn't until I opened Stone Soup 16 years ago, that I realized my own work, that means when you hear yourself, you change things, and your real meaning sometimes comes across that you might have conceptualized something and followed it from the seed, but it wasn't what it was. In other words, it's whatever it can be. In other words, I'm not surprised. John Lena's is just up the street. No, because he's been on Beacon Hill for a considerable length of time.
And he is the Beacon Hill poet?
I would say.
You would say?
By a wide margin. I mean, in terms of celebrity.
Well... So what was the banquet for?
The people that drink the concerts in town are catered.
Oh, a caterer, not for a particular government event.
No.
Or social event. Yeah.
No, just the generalized concerts in the town shot. Hey,
you put out a good spread.
It could be fast. One of the good things is see if there were no things of this sort to eat nearby, what would I be saying? Chocolate. You can have some more if you like.
Yeah.
What's it about? Couldn't find it. Oh. So this is about the unification for the first time of the Russians in medieval times.
Bilo and the other one?
Bilo Vance.
No? Are you Russian? You're not Russian either, are you?
That's my grandmother's.
Your grandmother was Russian?
No, my grandmother's plumber.
Your grandmother's plumber was
Russian. So that might be the connection. I never asked.
You never asked? Yeah.
I was intimidated by the biblical God. You know, ask and it shall be. Oh my God. It sounds too precise. It won't happen.
So I read an article on you one day in a newspaper, right? In the Globe, was it?
I think it was the Globe. Yeah.
How much of it was true?
Unfortunately, I did not see error in factuality.
Oh, well, then it was all true.
To the extent that anything can be ascribed as 100% anything. Meaning some of the projection flowed under what I would consider accurate, and some of us, some folks would think more of me than they should have, and some might think less of me. On balance, you judge anything by how far it varies from the absolute truth, and variations need apply.
Boy, that's a very accurate answer, Jack. Your mind is working well. So I need to read from it. Must be something else. Now, what sign are you?
Virgo. Leo rising, I'm told.
Leo rising.
Yeah, I don't know what that
You look
means.
like you have a Leo rising. You have the high forehead.
High forehead.
Oh yeah, egotistical bearing. A full mane of hair.
Showing lightly.
Yeah. I bet it wasn't always. Does your hair always look like this?
No, it's
Aside for it wasn't gray?
longer.
Much longer, I bet.
Not much.
No?
No. I'm never, unfortunately, get into, I guess that would have been bordering on the messianic.
If you
I had the whole, shot, because I was, when I was a kid, I was going to be a priest, and about up to the age of 9 or 10. So the religiosity has a very strong strain that at times will overcome other aspects. More important, I think, by far than astrology.
And their social control still works.
Yeah, to the extent that you allow it, but we're not always on guard. I can walk down the street saying, I'm going to think of the highest thought in my mind at this moment for the next 25 yards. Impossible to keep it there because I'm untrained. Well, I'd rather be untrained than of the general, the totally unaware and unquestioning to one side, and the acutely supersensitized seeker, ever questioning. And somewhere in the middle, the great majority, I lean toward one side rather than the other, I believe, but I would not crash on either side. And it's easy to see why, going back to the true believer, Eric Hoffer, the extremist on one side or the other tends to, and he was somewhat simplistic, but tends to be an easier convert to the opposite, diametrically opposite, rather than the great lukewarm. So being part of the great lukewarm in most things, it's interesting to consider words, since they mean so little.
In the great lukewarm.
Well, because they were taken over in America, certainly as speech, oration, harangue, that the time when there's an audience for words, it's the politician, the preacher, and the huckster. And so, anytime someone gathers an audience, someone by happenstance arrives, they look toward a crowd and someone's speaking to them, and would say, I would guess, a preacher, a politician, or a salesman. That leaves what percentage of people without a bias toward spoken word? With all due cause. So when we get up even at Charlie's Tap, it's hard, especially when one poet read the introduction to Ellen Hubbard's Mathematics one night.
Yeah.
Well, it became clear that in an unhappy way, he had become a combination of religioso huckster projection.
Oh, I think straight huckster.
And lost his audience thereby.
Oh, so you think you have to follow the line between them to be a poet, then?
When you read poetry, you have to be conscious of those things. If you ever see a water skier, And the boat directly in front is casting an action in the water that produces multiple problems for navigation. And all you have to be, you could miss them during an entire course of a ride, just flow in the trough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could do that. Most people find it's more fun to
go out and hit those water buoys. I do that all the time. Yeah.
And so what my feeling is that that's an exercise that's deliberate.